the Work Experience Week Session 4 on Careers in Sport. My name's Jordan. I work in the Future Students team at UCFB. So sort of my role is I go around schools, colleges, sports academies across mostly the Midlands region. So that's sort of my full-time role. And on a normal basis, before COVID, I would go to these institutes, talk about UCFB, do this presentation on careers in sport as well, and talk about the opportunities within the sports industry and then how you can go on to do that within industry as well. So just to give you a bit about my background. So I was a graduate of UCFB. I graduated around 4 years ago. I got some fantastic opportunities whilst I was a student working at various clubs like Burnley Football Club, for example. Rugby World Cup I got to work on as well. So I've had that opportunity to work within industry as well. So it was a great insight into that industry and how it works. And I'm here to talk to you about today just about specifically about the industry itself and the opportunities, and actually how vast and how big the industry is. You're probably not aware of how big the industry actually is and the different job roles potentially you can go into if you wanted to work within sport, and the usual roles that do come with sport, of course. So those are my details on there. Please feel free to take my details after today's session if you do have any further questions you might have forgot. And also as well, this is being recorded as well this afternoon, so please feel free. So from next week we will be sending out the recordings of all our sessions from the Work Experience Week. So I'm going to start straight away and just saying about the platform. So there is a chat button tab on the left hand side of your screen. My colleague Ellie will be hosting that room today, so if you do have any questions, please feel free to do so. Matthew, it might be to do with your internet, so if you can't hear me, it probably is your internet connection on your end. It's all right, I will be moving the slides very, very shortly. Okay, so Ellie will be looking after the chat room. She just posted in there. Okay, but I'm going to get you guys to interact with the session today. So the first thing I want you to do is go into that chat session for me, and I want you to type in how much you think the global sports industry is worth. So please, in the chat room, type in what you think the sports industry is worth in pounds. What do you think it's worth? So I'll give you about 30 seconds to do that. Just type in how much you think the sports industry is worth in monetary value. So off you go. Okay, I can see a few coming in. Some good figures. Some very, very good figures. Very, very interesting. Yeah, brilliant. 10 more seconds and then I'll reveal. And I'll go through everybody's answers that they've given. Okay, so I've got a couple of answers from a few people. So I've got from Ralph, I've got 12.5 billion. Alex, 13. So it's creeping up a little bit. 7, you've given 20 billion. So it is creeping up. Marcus, 5 trillion. Wow, gone straight in there. Probably a little bit too high, that one, £5 trillion. But very good try. Wes, I recognise that name from somewhere. 30 billion. Okay, so not a bad guess at all. Digby, 20 billion. Mary, 30. Okay. Luke, 75. Okay. And Sam, 100 billion. So it is going up and up and up. Ralph, we've gone for 3. Okay. 200. Christopher, 2.3 trillion. Daniel's gone with. Matthew, just keep rejoining. It will help. Just keep doing that. I do apologize that you can't hear. So a lot of you with some really good guesses. So I'm going to reveal now what it's actually worth. And some of you were fairly close. Ralph will just come in with something that I was about to say. So the sports industry is worth around 450 billion to just over £500 billion. That's how much the industry is worth. It's worth quite a lot. And when you're probably thinking about sports industry, you're probably only thinking about the UK domestic industry. So the UK sports industry is actually only worth 20 billion. That's the UK. So it's about 5%. So you've got to think about the other 95% of the industry that is available across the world. So it just shows you how big the industry actually is. So just to give you a sort of insight there. So why is it worth so much? So it's not purely because of the people playing on the pitch or running around the track, or whether it's somebody, you know, on the American football field. It's everything else that goes on behind the scenes as well. So obviously you've got people working commercial, you've got people working the business sectors of sport, you've got people working in the coaching realms. The playing side is obviously a big area of that, the elite performance side, because obviously without that you've got nothing else. And it's evident, we've seen at the moment with COVID that a lot of sports have not been able to return just yet, but now some are returning. It's bringing a lot more joy, and people are getting back to some sort of normality, which is great. So in terms of what you can get from that, and the benefit of the wealth of the sports market, is there's a lot of jobs going by. Is what I'm trying to say. Is it's a multi-billion-pound industry, and the UK only accounts for 5%. So you think about the other 95% that you guys can have a go at. So it just shows you how big that industry actually is. So what I would say is that, in terms of the job roles, there are a vast amount of opportunities, and I'm going to go through that today, but it accounts for different areas that you probably not thought of, like your cycle, on the field work, on field careers, whether it's coaching, the business side, the media, the marketing, digital media, also, as well as, your backroom staff, the scientific side of things, the medical side of things as well. All these encompass the value of the sports industry, and just shows you how big it is, and how much of an influence it has, and actually how much influence actually non-sporting organizations have on sport as well. Because you probably noticed when you're watching football specifically, I do apologize if I do revert to football quite a bit in this session, because that is sort of my sport and my passion, and I'm really passionate about football. Obviously, you see a lot of sponsorship going around stadiums, and you see them on shirts as well. And how many non-sporting organizations actually get involved within the industry? And the reason for that, and that's what adds wealth as well to sports, because of the exposure it gives to organizations outside of sport. And that's why the wealth of sport is so big, because so many people want a piece of the pie and have that exposure on live TV and other networks as well. So I will talk to you a bit about the specific roles shortly. Just also as well on the chat, just let me know if you've been to a sports event in the last 12 months in the UK. Just put in the chat if you have been to a sports event, like a football match, cricket match, rugby, athletics. Yeah, 7 you have. Brilliant. Marcus, brilliant. Yeah. Digby, yeah. Ralph. Oh, you went to a chicken race. Okay. How was that? What did that encompass? Where was that actually based? Was that based in the UK? Where's brilliant? Been to a few football matches. It was up north. Okay. Brilliant. I'm going to have to research that up later around chicken races. Fantastic. Absolutely, yeah. Football matches, Mary, yeah. Fantastic. Sumo wrestling, Alex. Okay, where was that? Was that in the UK or was that elsewhere? He's in the UK. Okay, so new market coming up there. Daniel, been to football, cricket, and speedway. Fantastic. So a lot of you have been to various different sports events, and you guys are compass for those statistics. Now, it is a slightly old one. I know it's increased as well this year. It was, last year, 2019, it was around 85 million. But you guys are compass for these statistics here. So there was actually over 85 million tickets sold last year at UK professional sports events in 2019. So that's the stats for 2017. I do apologise, I forgot to change those this afternoon. But yeah, so it encompasses around 85 million of you have been to events last year, which is fantastic. And what's important to note for you is that when you think about the sports industry and the amount of people that are going to it, you're providing that revenue, you're providing that opportunity. But think about the people when you go into that stadium who are working in there. You don't probably think about it when you go in. So does anybody want to guess for me the capacity of not the capacity of Wembley Stadium, but how many staff members would work at Wembley Stadium typically on a full match day of 90,000? How many members of staff do you reckon work at Wembley Stadium? Digby says 500, 2,000, 3,700. I'll give you 5 more seconds, folks. 1,000, 1,200, 50,000. Blimey. 5,000. Ben, you're spot on. Ben Pearson, you're absolutely spot on. It's 5,000. Yeah. So 5,000 members of staff work on a live match day at Wembley Stadium. And you think about all the people when you walk into that stadium, you've got your stewards, you've got your media officers, you've got your marketers, you've got your chief execs in there, you've got your financiers, you've got your players, of course, the managers, the backroom staff. All these people encompassed in that stadium. When you're going in that stadium, you don't realize how many people are actually working on that event. And it just highlights the different roles that are actually within the game. And even on that's just match day. So think about all the other roles that take place outside of match day, whether it's people who work in research, whether it's people that work, you know, in the event side of things as well, you know, outside of hospitality, people who work on doing the social media elements, you know, they're there on match day, but also outside of match day as well. Wembley Stadium, we have 5,000 people are working, you know, so it's crazy to think how many people do work on a live game, and it's evident with that. And I think what I highlight here is that these people, most of these people will have gone on and done qualifications around their specialist areas to work where they are, whether it is in hospitality, so maybe they've done an events management degree. Those who've done student have done, sorry, MVQ courses, maybe for spectator safety. Chief executives have done accounting over the years. The financiers, people who worked in marketing have done degrees in marketing and worked their way up and got work experience at clubs, organisations related to where they are right now. So all these people have got an education, and what's important is that these people have got an education and are working where they are now because they've got that education, which is important. I mean, and spectators have a big part of that, you know. So Wimbledon was the highest attended sport event in 2017. It was meant to be this year. Where the Euros was going to be the highest attended sport event in the UK. It would have been over 630,000 based on the fact that there were 7 live events at Wembley. So if you do quick maths, 90,000 times 7, it would have been 630,000 spectators at one event over that period. Over that tournament, which would have been brilliant. And the fans do play a big part. And I know that at the moment there is this big concern, obviously, a lot of games playing behind closed doors for obvious reasons, that the fans do have a big influence. And this is where we're seeing EFL teams struggling currently right now, because they need that match day revenue, they need that support. And a lot of these sports need it, like tennis, like golf, like cricket as well. They need that match day revenue because the broadcasting sometimes doesn't cover that. So it's important that we have fans that come and attend and provide that engagement. So having engagement officers at games, you know, that's a job within sport. You know, I know there's people at UCFB who graduated have gone into fan engagement roles. It's a big area in improving the fan experience. You know, those are roles specifically for people. I had a few mates of mine who worked at Man City whilst doing their degree, getting involved with fan engagement at the Etihad at the time, about 3 or 4 years ago, you know, trying to improve that fan experience. So there are roles there working directly with fans as well. And it's important that they come because they provide a lot of the income for sporting events. And it just shows, obviously, the vast different roles that are available. It's not just business and behind the scenes, it's being on the ground. It's not just the athletes. All these connect together to make sure that the event works. Now, I know a lot of you probably during, and this is probably the most relevant piece of sport going on right now due to lockdown. We've all been using online. We've all been using, probably spending more time using technology. Now, it's esports. Now, esports is a big industry now that is rapidly growing. It's something that UCFB is investing in as well. And I know that there's a lot of new job roles, and some of you might be aware we've got graduates working in esports now through FIFA as well. Does anybody want to hazard a guess how much the esports industry is worth? Have a guess. Please put in the chat how much you think the esports industry is worth. Wes has gone 5 billion. Okay, 5 billion, Sam. Okay, 10 billion. 10 billion. I think a lot of you are going for big numbers now because of what you've seen already. But I'm going to reveal it now. Oh, who's just said 900 mil? 7. Wow, fair play. It was worth 840 million in 2019. 840 million pounds, the esports industry. We had the first eSport Champions League final at Madrid the day before the Champions League final. You know, first one we've ever had. You know, esports has taken a big you know, influence now into lives of you know, people who want to get involved with it, but as well as that, people want a new way of consuming sport and interaction and you know, and competition as well. I think what's really important is as well, actually, to remember with esports, think about COVID now, right now. You know, I believe that Diego Jota, Wolves player, won the eSport Premier League Championship in May. You know, that was a new tournament, thanks, you know, obviously due to this current pandemic. You know, this was a competition set up by the Premier League, and I believe Diego Jota beat Trent Alexander-Arnold in the final. And you know, this was got some high engagement in that as well. And there would have been people, if he's only really good, he was that good in real life. He's all right, Ralph. He's not a bad player. I'm from near Wolverhampton, so you know, I need to, you know, I am a bit biased towards Wolves, but you know, this is a new concept that they've taken on with esports, and people are getting roles within esports now. On the screen there, you see Richard. He's one of our graduates at UCFB, just graduated this year. He works on the FIFA Ultimate Team series, and so does Brandon as well, Brandon Smith, and I follow him on LinkedIn and stuff. They're graduates. They're working in this sector right now. This is a new sector that's growing all the time. And if you enjoy esports, I know that the average coach age to be an esports coach is 19. The average age for a professional coach in esports is 19 years of age. They say if you go above the age of 26, 27, that's retirement age now for esports players. It's crazy, isn't it? It's a lot less younger career in esports than probably a professional footballer would have. Average of about 30 to 34 years of age, depending on obviously where they are in their career. Yeah, you can make a living from it, I believe so. I mean, the richest player, I believe the person who won the last FIFA World Championship, he made a positive net income of £2 million last year, I believe. And then the winner, and then we refer back outside of FIFA to Fortnite. The winner of that won more money than Novak Djokovic won at Wimbledon for winning the men's singles championships. Yeah, absolutely. So there is money to be made in esports, and people like Richard and Brennan have made a career. It's absolutely. It's a generation thing, Daniel. And it will change going forward. I think it's just because of reflexes and gaming. I think whilst younger generations are coming through, I'm sure they'll still be playing gaming. It would get more competitive. So a retirement age is it's just people. It's down to reactions, I believe. I read an article and I was listening to it on the radio about 3 or 4 months back prior to lockdown when I was traveling to and from schools. And there's an NFL player is now finished with the NFL at a young age. Now he's taken up a career in esports. Might want to have a little look and see who that NFL player is, but he's taken up esports to join the MLS esports championships for Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Union. Okay, so he's joining the MLS team, MLSE team. Sorry, the esports team. So it's an industry that is rapidly growing, guys. Yeah. JJ, I think it might be him, yeah, it might be. Have a little look online, do a bit of research today. Have a look at the NFL player that's joined an esports team, and he's said because of his age, potentially he might struggle because of it. It's natural that as you get older, 25 plus, I'm reaching that age myself, your reflexes start to go down a bit. So, but what I'm saying is, back to the hindsight of esports, is there are careers within marketing, in media, in business now in this area. Is he from England? Fantastic. They are going into those industries. And what I'm saying is this is an industry that's viable for you guys. Whether you did a degree with us at UCFB or within business, in marketing, there are opportunities there for you. Okay. Now, obviously, when we resort to careers in sport, we do automatically glue ourselves to football in the UK and the value of the Premier League. So the value of the Premier League, what does this mean for you? Obviously, with Welsh, there you go. Thanks for the link for everybody. Did you send the article, Ellie? Fantastic. So the Premier League generates around 5.5 billion last year. What's that? What does that mean for you? It means obviously with wealth comes job creation. It does, and we are seeing on average Premier clubs on average generate around 270 million pounds every year, or 270 million euros. So about quarter of a billion every year, each club on average, some more than others. And what's that meant is, especially in the Premier League, they're able to provide more jobs, they're able to provide more opportunities for people to work in different areas. Foundation groups are set up, academies get better, more coaching staff, more backroom staff, because it's a bigger department, it's a bigger area. So we are seeing more and more people working in that industry. So the Premier League obviously is a big chunk of that. I know that 8 billion of it is what the Premier League's worth. It's worth around 8 billion, the Premier League itself. So, it's worth quite a big to the UK economy in terms of it running. So in terms of jobs, it's a big provider for jobs in this country. It's the same with all our other leagues as well. The EFL, obviously, it's a lot less figures, but the English Championship generated 720 million, which is up 30%, purely down to the TV deals that were agreed with Sky Sports, I believe, last year. I know there's a few controversies with the EFL Championship and how the games are sort of broadcasted now, because I know you can press a red button in the week and it doesn't matter if you don't have to be at the game now, you can watch all 12 games. I know some people probably want that with the Premier League on a Saturday at 3 o'clock, but unfortunately you can't get that in the UK unless you go through a legal stream. But yeah, I mean, what's the benefits of it going up again? More broadcasting, more exposure, more organisations getting involved, meaning more job roles available at the EFL. We are seeing at the moment issues with EFL clubs. We hope that will be rectified soon. Obviously, with Wigan Athletic, but the benefit of the revenues keep going up means is potentially more job roles for young people like yourself who are on the chat today or on the profile today, getting involved, and want to get involved within sport. And there's lots of opportunities in the generating roles within business, in coaching, also as well as media and other avenues as well. And that's what's key. And the European market is absolutely massive as well. It's worth £22 billion. So it just highlights how big the industry is and how big it is for you. And like I said, 5% of the actual wealth of sport is only in the UK. You got to think of the other 95%. So it's a big industry out there, and you can take your degrees out there with you to go and work in those industries. Now, normally when I go into schools, colleges, I normally talk to students. I take a Premier League football in. I throw it about the classroom to the teacher's despair, and I get them to talk about, what is this? To say it's a ball. I say, where would you find that football? On a football pitch. What surrounds a big football pitch for an elite club, a stadium, who's in the stadium, people, have a look at the ball for me, what's it have on it? It's got a Nike logo, it's got a Premier League logo, says, what are those? They're companies, and who do they have working for them as people? So I call that football a money ball. So, it is a money ball at the end of the day. That concept is providing, and that ball is providing so many jobs within the industry in football. And it's the same with many other balls, whether it's a golf ball, a cricket ball, a rugby ball, American football. That simple object is providing so entertainment for so many people, opportunities to go and live their dreams and go and work in a career that they really want to work in. And there's over 450,000 different jobs within the industry. And as you can see there, those are typically sort of roles you can go into within relation to our degrees that we offer at UCFB. So whether it's in events or whether it's being a manager or sports marketeer or radio presenter, PE teachers are obviously a very common one when people think of jobs in sports. Yeah, Ralph, absolutely. The new West Ham shirt sleeve deal is worth $250,000. I know that Collar, I think they're a toilet making company, or on the side of Manchester United. I believe that's a £12 million deal. So I know that they provide a lot of income just having a little shirt sponsor on the side. But have a little look at that. I might be wrong slightly with my stats there, but I know it's in the millions. But what I'm saying is here, as you can see with the jobs, sports columnists, commercial directors, sports lawyers, sports agents, you're probably well aware of some of these jobs, but probably not well aware of some of these. These are careers within sport, folks, and these are potential roles you can go into. Not to sound very cliche with this, but these are potential roles you can go into moving forward, and that's important. And the biggest thing for you is, I'm going to bring up this next slide now. This is the thing that you guys should, and most of you are probably in this age bracket between 15 and 30. Over a third of people are your age working in the industry. So what I'm trying to say, it's a relatively young industry, and obviously getting in there at a young age will provide you with the best opportunity to get to the top. And we are seeing now a better cut now, ratio of men and women working in the field of sport. Obviously, it's higher in other sports than others. The ratios, obviously, for women, more probably women obviously operate in netball. More men probably still operate in football, but that is getting better. So, and then there are sports that's more 50-50, for example, like tennis, for example. So, and nearly 40% of people employed in sport have complete tertiary education. That's university level degree. So it's never been more important now to get a degree, to go into sport, because that's what employers are looking for, as well as obviously your experiences working in the industry. And that's what we provide at UCFB as well. We provide you with a degree, an opportunity, but as well as that, provide you with the opportunity to gain experience as well, which give you the best opportunities within sports. So that's just a highlight there for you, got all of you guys in the room, is that, it's very, very important now to actually complete further education if you want to continue your sort of career in sport. Nearly 450,000 people are employed in the UK. I now know. Sorry, I need to think of my words out there. It's now over 500,000. Okay, and obviously with currently COVID and everything at the moment, obviously there is going to be an impact. However, over 25% of people employed within sport are in the EU are from the UK. It's the biggest market. Okay, the sports market in the UK is the biggest in the EU. Okay, in terms of employment. So that will provide you with some confidence if you are considering like a career in sport, especially here in the UK. You obviously got your American market, you've got the rest of Europe, of course, you've got Asia, you've got South America. There is lots of markets to work at. And especially if you want to be a sports coach, we expect there to be nearly a 13% growth in sports coaches by the end of 2026. So it does provide you with a bit of insight there. We are, the reason for, you're probably wondering why there's an increase in sports coaches. And the reason for that is, when you think about it logically, what are we all being promoted to do? Take on more physical activity, get out, do more exercise, join a gym, get involved with, interactive sessions, working from home and doing indoor at home workouts. There are people being employed now and working in those areas. And this is why we're seeing more and more coaches, instructors, officials operating in the UK, purely and simply because more of us are getting more active, and obviously more people getting active, more people want access to classes, more access to sessions, whether it's in football, whether it's in whether it's swimming, whether it's golf, whether it's cricket. We are seeing employment rising in those areas, and we do estimate that there are about 1.2 million now actually practicing coaching in the UK, and it probably has gone up even more. People practicing it at home, doing it at home whilst during this pandemic. So if coaching's your thing and you want to work in coaching, this is the best time, because people are getting more active and we are seeing more gyms, more sort of sports facilities popping up all the time, which is great. So that's something to think about there. And the sports market is looking still good in the UK, which is positive, and the funding as well. And there's a big focus on female sport as well, especially in football. For obviously for anyone who wants to work in women's sport, and people thinking, I don't want to work in football though. It's unfortunately women for women. Women's football is the biggest sport in the UK. It's fact. Over 3 million people play it. It's the highest employed area for females to work in. So what I'd say is, if you are a student or you want to work in sport, you want to work in female sport, don't rule out football, because that is a big career area, and then you can go on into different areas within sport as well. And we are seeing more funding. We're seeing increased average monetary value going into sports sponsorship. If any of you follow women's football, we've got the Barclays Women's Super League, the biggest sponsorship deal done ever in women's football, £10 million over 3 years. Obviously, there's still a long way to go with the monetary values compared to the men's, equivalent league of the Premier League, obviously. But we are seeing now a more vested interest in especially in female football at the moment. And I know that tennis, and I know tennis already has bridged that gap by equaling prize money for women and men's at Wimbledon for the singles, I believe. So there is some fantastic progress being made. So we are seeing more funding. We are seeing more full-time roles coming into women's sport, but especially at football at the moment. So there is a big football focus around female, especially with the female game. And we are seeing more registered players now. And over 3 million do play it. And as I mentioned, nearly 3 million play it. Okay, it's the largest female sport. Okay, so you can't get away from it, even if you're not a big football fan. It is a big market, and there are opportunities there. And that stat there, 1.6 million watched the 2018 Women's FA Cup final. It's now been absolutely blown out the window, that stat. We had nearly 8 million watch the women's semi-final. The Women's World Cup semi-final between England and the USA. It was nearly 8 million people that tuned into that. So we are seeing more vested interest. We are seeing more people vested interest in the women's game, and we've actually got a few graduates now working in women's football. I know that David, one of our graduates, is at Chelsea Ladies as a liaison officer there at Chelsea Ladies Football Club. So he's doing work there. So we are seeing people picking up full-time roles within the women's game, which is great to see. And I know at UCFB we actually have the Hive Stadium, which is home to London Bees and Tottenham Hotspur Ladies, and they play there. So we do have access to potentially, opportunities there working with those clubs, which is great. So what it is basically I'm saying is, in terms of the engagement in female sport, we are seeing a big engagement, especially at the moment on a football side of things. So there are more and more opportunities coming available within the women's game as well, which is absolutely brilliant. And this varies actions from coaching to the business side of things and media as well. So it's just, a few examples. We've got students now working in industry. I know Gemma's now at Man United, working in coaching there at the foundation level. I know Bastian's still at Juventus Academy in London. Josh is working at a boys' school, working as a coach. So they've gone into areas. But how do they get there? They did a degree. They did it with us. They got opportunities whilst doing their degree, and that's important. Make sure you do get your experience under your belt, because that's what's going to help you moving forward within the industry. So all these students here took part. They didn't just do the basic degree and tried to get in the industry. They were doing stuff whilst they were doing their program. So that will help you along your way getting to where you need to go. And it's the same here. Amy, who's actually sponsorship and accounts manager now at Watford. She actually had a promotion. I got to speak to her at St George's a couple of months back. Really interested now. Actually, she has to kind of meet the obligations of all the commercial deals that are done through Watford Football Club from the commercial director. She has to make sure everything's met. So if like the cert sponsor for Watford Invest that year, she's got to make sure that she meets all the requirements of that sponsor. So make sure that that investment goes into Watford Football Club. So she has a really cool job there. Sard's, a entrepreneur, owns his own sports agency company for the Avalon Sports Group. He's got some great clientele under his belt, like Ian Rush, former Liverpool player, doing all his events, gets involved with Liverpool Football Club. So he's doing really well there. And we've got another student who works as co-founder as well, Raj as well. They both studied at Wembley and finished in 2017. And Hayley's an executive at Chelsea Football Club. So we have got students working at some of the biggest clubs in the UK, especially in football. So, you know, the jobs are out there, folks. And what I'm trying to say is the career in the sports industry is absolutely massive. Over 450,000 people, as I mentioned, are working in it. And there's over 450,000 different roles as well. So it just highlights how big this industry is as a whole. But how can you find out more? So obviously, you know, some of you might not be interested in UCFB, some of you might just be interested in general career in sport. But if you do want to find out more, I'm going to send out links after today's session if you want to request further information. All our links there for our social media, please follow those. If you want to know more about careers in sport, the opportunities you can do at UCFB, because we are a university, we offer variation of different degree programs for you to get involved with. And you know, there's opportunities there for you to, you know, do a degree and then hopefully go into your dream job, then moving in sport and in football industry as well. But I just want to say thank you very much for listening, folks. And I'm just going to open it up now to the floor. Does anybody have any questions? Probably another final thing for me is actually just to type in for me. Did everybody learn something new today? If you could just type in the conversation box if you have. Brilliant, fantastic. That's the main thing. Fantastic. No, that's great. I've done my job today. Then that's the main thing. I always ask that at the end of every session whenever I'm in a school or a college. Yeah, Digby. Yes, UCFB is a university. It's an institution. We specialise in football and sport degrees, and we're based at Wembley in London, and also the Etihad campus in Manchester. So we're based up in the north and the south of the UK. Look on our website. There might be a degree available to you that you might be interested in, whether it's a business-related degree or a coaching degree, or whether it's something around media, marketing, you know, also psychology as well, and PE. We have lots of opportunities within industry. So Digby, does that answer your question? Yeah, brilliant. So yeah, have a little look afterwards, and if you want to request further information, you can do, if you wish. Does anybody else have any questions at all? Please ask. It can be about UCFB, it could be about Christian sport, it could be a bit about. So Luke's got a question. So what are the necessary grades needed for courses? So we accept A levels or BTEC equivalents, and the 96 to 112 UCAS points, our programs. So if you're doing A levels, it's anything from 3 C's to 2 B's and a C. If you're doing a BTEC, it's anything from 3 merits to a distinction, merit. So does that answer your question, Luke? Are you doing A levels or BTECs at the moment, or are you just still doing GCSEs? A levels, brilliant. Yeah. So, and on top of that, if you are looking at coaching degrees, you do need your FA coaching badges as well. So you might need your level 1 or level 2, depending on which coaching degree you do want to choose. So that's on top of what you need. If you are looking to apply for this September, we have exempted level 1. The requirements for A levels 7, it's 3 C's to 2 B's and a C. And on top of that, if you're looking for the coaching degrees, our football coaching ones, you do need your FA level 1 or FA level 2, depending on which football coaching degree, you do choose. Okay, Daniel, does that answer your question 7, just before I move on? Brilliant. Daniel, okay, let me just go back one because I did miss one from Matthew. Sorry. So, hi. What if you're not academic? So, the great thing about our courses, Matthew, is that our courses range, academic and like business to like more coaching practical. So don't worry if you're not fully, you're not academic. There are courses available for everybody, whether it's more practical based or whether it's more theoretical based. So it just depends on what you might be interested in. So Matthew, I mean, just let me know now, like what is it sort of area of sport that you're really engaged about? Where would you like to work moving forward in sport if you could choose? Football, yeah. So I mean, football. To be honest, like you don't have to be the most academic in terms of like doing business at A level, for example. I mean, I did it myself. So we have got students that have done BTECs previously have gone into a business related degree or into marketing, into media. People who've done A levels and done coaching want to do something a bit more practical. So it just depends on what you get in your entry grades right now. So if you're doing A levels or you're doing BTECs, we ask for those specific requirements. We don't specify a certain BTEC or a certain A level. Okay, so it just depends on what you're interested in. So hopefully that's answered your question. Basically, you don't have to be the most academic. It's your passion is what we're looking for, and using your initiative and moving forward. Does that answer your question, Matthew? Yeah, brilliant. I'm just going through the questions. Daniel, if you study something at UCFB but ultimately don't want to get a job in sport, does it put you in a good place to get a job in other industries? 100%. And I can do that from my own experience. So I did football, business and finance. It's essentially a business management degree. I got a role at an accounting firm within 2 weeks of finishing. And that was based on the degree that I did. So what it's great about the majority of the courses is they are transferable skills. Okay, it is transferable. Whether you do sports psychology, you learn about elements of theoretical psychology, whether it's coaching, leadership and management modules, it can lead you into good stead into other jobs. What's great about the courses they are transferable. Okay, so especially the business courses is the best example. Their business management degree is just applications in football. That answers your question, Daniel. No problem at all. Fantastic. Oh, and good luck with that, by the way. It's a great course. Next question I had from Adesua. How did you get your FA level 1 and level 2? So Adesua, so basically, yeah, FA level 1, level 2. So depending on where you live, Adesua, are you from the UK or are you from another country? Just to start with, I just need to gauge where you're based, just so I can give you the best advice. From the UK, fantastic. So for your local FA, wherever you're based, it might be Somerset, it might be Birmingham, from where I'm from, near from. You go on your local county FA website, and they'll have FA coaching courses available throughout the year. So you sign up to it, you register for it. There is a fee you have to pay for FA coaching badges. They're not the cheapest, but they are okay. And sometimes it's best if you can get into a local club and see if they'll fund it. I know that from my experience of grassroots and stuff like that, I know that when I've been managed and stuff, or I know people who are coaching or I've helped, sort of tell them a bit of advice, they can get their coaching badges paid for by their local club. So get involved with that. But yeah, if you want to do coaching badges FA level 1 and level 2, you go on your local county FA website and there are dates available. Currently with COVID at the moment, there isn't. But hopefully when we get back to some sort of sense of normality, that's how you find out which course are available in your area and what dates. Is that okay, Adesua? Brilliant. Okay, we've got a couple more questions and then we'll wrap up. So, Brogan, how many UCAS points do you need? So it ranges from 96 to 112 UCAS points, Brogan, depending on which program you decide to study. So, for example, football, business and finance is 112 UCAS points, and football, business and marketing is 96 UCAS points. So if you're doing A levels for football, business and marketing, you'd need 3 Cs, which is 96 UCAS points. And for football, business and finance, you would need 2 Bs and a C if you were doing A levels. Does that answer your question, Brogan? Brilliant. One more thing. So, is there anything you recommend doing before enrolling that would help me when I start? Just try and just do research, Daniel. Just do as much research as you can. I'd say just see if there is any opportunities. I know it's very difficult at the moment with the current climate, but just get involved. Just do a bit of research. Have a think of ideas that you want to do moving forward. See if there's any sort of opportunities available for you moving forward, and just sort of get a list together before you start in September. That's probably the best thing I'd advise right now before you start. Yeah, Seven's invite. Yes, brilliant. Thank you for that, Ellie. Thank you for answering Seven's question. And then have we got any more? I think that's it. Fantastic. Right, folks. Hopefully hopefully you've got a lot out of the session. Thank you very much for listening, folks. And if you do have any other further questions, I'm going to put it back up on the screen now. Those are my details, so please drop me an email if you do have any further questions. And have a good rest of your day, folks, and take care.